Welcome back to Fitness Forever TV with M&B,
your source for entertainment television,
where we discuss all things health and wellness to help you achieve longevity and vitality.
Right, and here we are outside because we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, running.
Right. Everyone, I always recommend the best cardio that you could do is to get out there and run, and Brad's going to share with us his knowledge on how to improve your running form to help you reduce your risk of injury and to get the best out of your run.
Exactly. So if you have better running form, you'll reduce your risk of injury, just as she says, by reducing the impact, and then at that point, hopefully you're having more fun, which means you can go longer, burn more fat, and develop more strength. That's what we're all about here. So, first of all, I just want to say that we have a new setup. We have two cameras set up today. So we have camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2.
We're so fancy.
Right, it's happening today. So there are 4 parts to Brad's formula on running form. So they are posture, placement, cadence, and lean. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through each one of them in somewhat detail to help you out. So we'll talk about posture first. So Melissa, if you can, I would love for you to take your hands, cross them over like this, make sure both feet are underneath you, right underneath your hips, stretch all the way up, then drop your shoulders. Now drop your arms without losing what you have in your torso. Bingo. Actually, at this point, she's in perfect running form. So to break it down really quick, is her head. So you can notice that her head is neutral. It's exactly where she is as if she was just talking to me. If you ever had an issue with that, and a lot of people do, if you see people out there running on the trail, sometimes you'll see this.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Right? And sometimes you'll see this.
Yes.
Well, that's putting extra tension on your neck, which is increasing the amount of oxygen to your neck, which is not where we need it to go when we're running, right?
That makes sense, yes.
Okay, so having your head completely neutral, exactly where it sits on your body whenever you're just standing, is exactly the way to keep increasing your efficiency for running. But people have a problem with that because they tense up. Here's a quick little tip. 1, while you're running, look 10 to 15 feet in front of you on the ground, just with your eyes. And that should put you right back into a good neutral position. Yeah. The second thing you can do is take your hand, make a fist with your thumb on the outside. This part of your thumb here goes into your epiglottal notch, and then you meet your chin with your pinky. Now pull it away. Now you're neutral. Right?
Okay.
And you can do that while you're running. You feel like a little strain in your neck. Go, oh, hey, I need to make sure that I got a neutral head. And I just go like this, I'm done, and I keep going. Great. The next thing is to make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Again, you want your shoulders the exact position you have them when you are just standing still talking to your friends, right? And that starts the beginning of our stack, what we call our stack. So if I'm looking, let's look at this, let's look at camera 2. If we're looking here, we can see that Melissa, her ear, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle are all in a line. So that's exactly what we call the stack. We want to keep it that way. So the next thing you want to talk about is our arms. So in perfect textbook running, we want our arms to be exactly at 90 degrees. So if we're looking at 90 degrees here, now it's just like her putting her forearms on a box, and it's just laying there. And there is no tension here. When she starts moving, so just take a couple steps forward, see automatically her arms start moving. Right? So if you're just walking, my arms are going to move automatically. So why do we need to put any force here? So that's what I'm suggesting to you, is your arms will stay right on your side at 90 degrees, and when you run, they're just going for the ride, because they're going to move. But what you want to do is guide them backwards, not forwards. So Melissa, if you're standing here, and I want you to give a nice profile to this camera. So, and then profile.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. And then what you're going to do is now put your arm forward all the way through. Now see what happens when she puts her arm through? Her torso moves just a little bit. She's an avid runner, so she actually does have good form here, but most people, when you're watching them, what happens is this.
This is true.
So by just letting your arms stay at the side and they just go for the ride, is now we're taking the efficiency into the arms, not causing any more oxygen into the arms. Because again, while we do use our arms for a little bit of propulsion, they're not there to actually help us run on the distance side of things, right? So now we've got head neutral, shoulders are nice and relaxed, arms are nice and relaxed, sitting at 90 degrees. The next part is probably the hardest part. The next thing we want to do is make sure we take our butt and we make sure it's out of the bucket. So again, as you'll see, you've probably watched people, we have this place called Bayshore. It's a sidewalk, it's 4.5 miles long. And if we watch people on Bayshore, you'll see a couple different things.
Yes.
Right? Or they're way underneath. Most of the time this is what it is. And what happens here is then we start to heel strike, which we'll talk about in a minute, but that's a no-no. But by doing this, here's where all the impact is. The impact is taken throughout the whole body just by me starting to heel strike or having my hips out of alignment. So all people would have to do to make themselves a little bit more efficient is this, and that's it. It's just making sure that we call it staying out of the bucket is pulling your hips underneath you. So if you see with Melissa, everything's underneath her. Now as she takes a step forward, it stays that way, right? So what you want to think about is constantly looking at making sure that you are not like sitting in a bucket, right? Sitting in a bucket. You want to make sure that you're out of the bucket. It's almost like you're sitting on the toilet. You want to just double check. Do I feel like I'm sitting on the toilet? No, I don't. I'm going to step back up and make sure that I pull my hips forward. Now you're not going to make it extreme, but it's just underneath you completely. So now when my strike happens, which we'll talk about in a minute, my foot is underneath my center of gravity. And that is posture. Posture by far is the most important part of this formula. So remember, posture. Next is placement. And this will be easy. I'm going to use my shoes. So step this way. I'm going to use my shoes for this. We're not going to like go down. So I'm going to basically show you using a shoe. So when we do placement, is what happens is when your foot comes down, it touches the ground right behind the ball of the foot. So when it's coming right behind the ball of the foot. So we land. Then we load the heel. Then we lever. And then we lift back up. Now this is a nanosecond. I mean, literally it's...
Yeah.
Right? So this placement will, when partnered with good posture, will keep you from using too much load in any one spot. Mm-hmm. So the nice thing about placement is that if everything else works, placement will take care of itself. And we'll talk about that in just 1 minute. So you've got good posture, and if you've got good posture, you will automatically get good placement. But the next most important thing comes up, which is cadence. Remember what we said: posture, placement, cadence, and lean. So cadence is the amount of times your foot is being placed, amount of times you steps, what we call steps per minute, mm-hmm. or in music it's beats per minute, which is going to be help all that. So the best thing you can do to help practice your cadence, and the most appropriate cadence for anybody that is symmetrical, okay, meaning that my legs and my body are pretty much symmetrical, like Melissa, like myself, is 180 steps per minute. Now I'm going to play this for you using a metronome, which is probably the best way for you to practice it. You can actually get on your phone, both iOS and Android, just find a metronome and listen to 180 steps per minute. So here's 180 steps per minute. It's not bad.
This is kind of fun.
Right. So the nice thing is so this cadence, so what cadence does for you, it does two things. One, it keeps you consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I've never done that before.
It is by far one of the most important things because, and here's the other thing, is, and I'll do this with Melissa, is when you think about the impact. Everybody talks about impact. Oh, it's a high impact sport. You can't be doing that. But if you run it as good cadence and good posture, then you reduce the impact. When you're in the bucket like this, and you're even with that cadence,
yeah,
your whole body takes on.
It looks painful to run that way.
Exactly. Your whole body takes on the impact. If you're out of the bucket and with this cadence, you literally, it stops here. It stops. That's where the impact stops, under the knee. and you can control it with the cadence. So it kind of feels like this. So go ahead, Melissa. What I want you to do is I want you to take your hands and you're going to clap just once, forcefully, but keep your hands together. Okay, do you feel a little sting?
Yes.
Okay, now just clap normally with some force. No sting, right?
Nope.
That's exactly the way it feels when your foot hits down.
Yeah.
Now, all of that reverberation, all the ground forces come up through my body. But if I've got that high cadence,
yeah, that makes sense.
I reduce the amount of impact that I get on my body. So, good posture, good placement, good cadence, 180, right? Last but not least is what we call the lean. So, when people think about leaning, they always think about leaning, which is not really a lean in what I would call a lean. This is a hip hinge.
Right.
Right? A lean comes from the ankles. So you go ahead and put your feet together here, and then what we do is we lean. Remember to keep your stack. Remember what the stack was: ear, shoulder, elbow, hip, knee, ankle. So when we lean, it's back from the ankles. Try it, Melissa. Now just step. See? Now the nice thing about that was, as you see, she already went forward. So just by leaning, you're already getting momentum. So what does that do for you? Very efficient, right? Now we can use gravity as momentum instead of this big push off.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're doing distance running, and my clients, I always talk about doing your first distance running at a conversational pace. Well, with a very small angle on your lean, literally gravity can do most of the work for you.
Nice.
Right? Now, here's a cool thing. Now, Melissa, what I'd love for you to do is, step over here, we're going to use camera 2, is just a little bit of a lean and just let it, just not a big lean, but just kind of step forward and just let your foot stop right there. Let's see if we can see it. We can. So if you see, when she was, what happens is the heel of the foot and the heel of the foot and the toe of the second foot have a certain distance, right? Now step back a little bit forward. Now give me just a little bit more lean. Just a little bit more than you did before. Now look, if you saw that, now it's more, even an inch, even just an inch. So if you have a steady cadence, if you have a steady cadence and you're getting more distance per stride, which is what that's called, distance per stride, how do you go faster?
More lean.
Bingo! She got it on the first try.
Oh, wow.
And let me tell you something. We're doing this impromptu. I did not tell her any of this.
No, and you know what? I hate to say things like I'm a natural runner, but I am. But all this is really great information for me. I mean, I run a pretty...
she's got a good pace.
Yeah.
So straight up, she's got a good pace.
Like,
but
totally makes sense.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I love to hear that.
Yeah.
So this is the way to go about it. Remember, posture, placement, cadence, lean, and you can constantly do these checks. Remember the first exercise about getting you into your good posture. Arms up, drop the shoulders, drop the arms. That puts you in good posture automatically. So what you can do is, while I'm running, if I start to feel myself, I can literally, while I'm running, up, drop, shoulders, and now I'm right back to where I need to be.
I've seen people do that.
They were my clients. So yes, so that's the way. That's the way to get you right back into that position. So all these little checks. So I would say is start working on one piece of the puzzle. Right? This is the formula: posture, placement, cadence, lean. The first time you go out, do 5-10 minutes and just work on posture. I don't want you to think about anything else. Just remember that posture. Keep those checks going. Keep the checks going. Then the next time you go out, kind of look for your placement. Now remember, here's one more thing to think about. If you've got good posture and good lean, placement comes like this. It should automatically. So when you're working on placement, if you're not placed correctly, there's probably something else that's going wrong. Then the next time you go out, work your cadence. The next time you work your lean. And keep paying attention to one at a time. Then you can put it all together. They put it all together on your 5th workout, and you should have it. Now, it's not going to happen automatically. Remember the 4 stages of learning. We have unconscious incompetence, We don't know what we don't know, right? But now you do. So all of you watching this video now have conscious competence. Now you know what you don't know, but now you got to practice it. Then there's conscious competence, which means, okay, I can do it when I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's unconscious competence, which is muscle memory. We want to get you to that unconscious competence with good form so you can enjoy your run. So I hope that helps everybody. If you've got any questions, leave a comment and we'll get right back to you, and we'll help you out any way we can. And you know, for any of you that haven't actually looked down in the description, we also leave contact information on Facebook and Instagram, and you feel free to slide into those DMs or find us on Facebook.
Yeah, and thanks for the tips, Brad. Those were really helpful.
Oh, you're welcome.
Posture, placement, cadence, and lean. Those are the 4 things I'm going to start breaking down in my run, so that way when I'm in my next event or even just outside running, I'm going to enjoy it a lot more.
Excellent. I love to hear that.
That was
you
awesome.
are so welcome. So go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. If you like this, if there's anything else like this that you would like to see, please go ahead and comment. Give us some ideas for some content you'd like to see.
But until then, get out there and run and
stay motivated.